I won't ask about James Marsters again. But I have a question about your character, Jack Harkness. Is he really the face of Bo? And if so, how?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's never been discussed. It's never been said. But there's.
Do you have a theory?
Huh?
Do you have a theory?
I do have a theory, and if you let me answer the question, I'll get to it. All right. No, the theory is, if you go back and you listen to Jack Harkness's speeches of how he died, there is one gigantic speech that he does. I can't remember what episode it's in, but it does describe... What? Someone usually shouts out the episode. What is it? Utopia. He describes a whole list of ways of how he dies. And there's one of them in there that I think is how he gets to be the face of Bo. But as we all know, his body can, bring back its part, the bits and bobs, and come back together. And in a way, I wasn't going to use the word regenerate because it's not regeneration, but rebuilding itself. We know that can happen. So there's got to be a point where, when this particular thing happens to him, that he is separated and kept away from his body. So his body is probably still existing somewhere else. Headless. Or with somebody else's head on it. And he's actually Jack Harkness and the Doctor. Can you tell I've been reading fan fiction? I'm just a big nerd like you. Except I'm a big gay one. What? How's that different? Not all nerds are gay. Someone just came up to me in the line and they said, bless his heart, because I love when people are trying to be, in on things and like they're progressive and, trying to be up on, you know what I'm trying to say, right? And he walked up and he said, so, nice to meet you. And I went, nice to meet you too. He said, so how's the wife? No, wait, And I went, excuse me? Thinking person didn't know I was gay. He says, no, how's the wife? How is he? I thought maybe, how did you like when you met him? And I went, well, just to explain to you that it doesn't work like that. We're two men. He's like, oh, okay, thanks for that. So I thought, it's interesting to then see how, people, you try to do it in a nice way, right? But it was interesting to me that someone had that perception. So I'm going to go home to Scott and I'm going to I guess you're the wife. So what should you do now? And it'd be like, what do I do anything different? I thought that was a good one. There was another moment that, I don't know if she's here. I got really touched by it. He was about 6'4". At my table. No, and it was a young lady came up to me. It's the first time I've ever had somebody say this. And it was a young girl, probably about 18, 19, and she put her picture down and she said, can you sign this for my two dads? And I welled up and she looked at me, she went, what's wrong? I said, well, that's something that I fought for and been out there and pushed for, so that someone of your age eventually one day would come up with no qualms, no, preconceived things and just say, this is for my two dads or this is for my two moms. So it was a huge moment for me in Boston. Thank you. Next question. Yes, right in front.
Okay, I was wondering, how did Gishwiz go?
I can never say it. Gishwishers. Gishwish is still going, I think. Is it done? It was done yesterday. Well, I helped out with a couple. I did. I helped out with a few. I helped out with one with a head covered in duct tape. I did a couple of things, and one with a paper mache head. There was a guy, one of my guys that I know from one of the other Comic Cons. He lives in Utah, and he's one of the 300 boys. And thank God you've got a brace around your leg, because you'd be running after him, and I'd trip you and break your other one. and you would mind control your wheelchair and beat me to him. So there's, yeah, but he wanted me to do something with some duct tape and a t-shirt, and I thought, well, you want me to come to Utah and do that? I love Mormons. Oh, you're all very religious sensitive here in Boston, aren't you? Get that out the fucking window. I don't speak like that all the time, girls. No. They're like, yes, you do. We've heard you. Yes, sir. Question.
Me?
Yes.
Can I have your autograph?
At the table.
No. They won't let me do that here because, and I'll explain why, and now I have to explain it, you dodo shithead. Because a lot of other people are waiting in line, and the con, they have to pay for that. I get a fee, they have to pay for it, and if I do that for you, it's extremely unfair for all of those other people, correct?
Yeah.
Sorry. And if I also did it, he would come up and he'd break your arms, and I do not want him to do that to you.
You can try.
He can try. Oh! Next to anybody else? Yes, right there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I wear a double X.
You are? Good. I'd like to watch that. Especially you with that beard. Tickle, tickle. She knows what I'm talking about. On your face, right? Yes.
Big fans of your work, and not only on Torchwood, but actually don't really have a question. It's actually more of a thank you.
Oh, okay, go on.
I don't
Let
know.
me just light up a cigarette here.
Everyone here is well versed with the many wonderful things you do. I don't know how many people know that what amazing things you've done also for the deaf community as well. My wife and I actually have a daughter who is severely hard of hearing, and your work, the experiment that you did where you had your hearing suppressed, and the write-up you did on that was inspirational. I just wanted to thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Very funny. So I came out. I do a pantomime every year in Glasgow, Scotland, and when I first did it for the first time, when I did it in the South Coast near England, in England, near London, I walked out and we were doing. Nobody told me. This was my first experience because I have signers for every show that I do. I make sure there's a sign. We have at least one show every 2 weeks that we can get, now for hard of hearing or deaf people. And I came out to this one particular show, my first one ever, and I was like so excited. It was such a good show. They were a very quiet audience. I don't know why. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to run down stage. I'm going to go bow, and they're going to go cheer, and I run down stage, and they go, what the hell are they waving at me for? Why are they waving? I'm like, wave, cheer, do something. And someone leaned over and went, they're deaf. They can't hear you. I'm like, oh, that's what that lady over there is doing. Didn't get it. No, and if you don't know I'm one of the celebrity patrons of the charity Hearing Dogs for Deaf People, where we provide, sorry, I'm out of breath now. We provide dogs for them so that if they're living by themselves, the dogs will alert them to problems, to people at the door. It's also very different because if you're walking down the street and someone is deaf or hard of hearing, you don't know. So you may go up and have a conversation with them, and in order for some people to lip read, you have to look at them. And that's a total lie because I know deaf people who read lips from miles away and they're like, we know exactly what they're saying. So be careful. Because them sons of bitches deaf people will tell your secrets. Quietly. But it raises money for the dogs to help out deaf people in the hard of hearing community, and it's really great. And I went what they called, I wasn't 100%, but I went deaf for a day. They blocked my hearing completely, and it was the most amazing experience in a good way and in a bad way, because I changed in the 24 hours that it was doing in good ways and bad ways. I'm very outgoing, I became very reserved, and also people around me, very close to me, treated me differently. For instance, my manager, I was trying to get him to fix my phone and take a picture, and having him saying to him, take a picture, and he's going, what? I'm saying, can you fix it? I can't hear it. And he went, oh, give me the phone! I was like, well, you're not getting your 10% anymore. So yeah, it was interesting, and if anybody wants to look it up, go to my website. It's all connected, and thank you very much. Yeah.